Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and happy replay, crew. Thank you for joining me on Santini Radio, where we talk about real, relevant, and relatable topics. Come experience information you can use to further enrich your life and some benefits for others. I am your host, Frenchie Santini, a military veteran, a mom, duchess to my grandgirls, and godmother of over 20 various children. In short, I can and will bring you a vast of my own knowledge and my perception, and bring guests that you, our special viewers, will appreciate. So get your questions ready and enjoy another episode of Santini Radio. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and happy replay, crew. Go ahead and type hashtag replay crew if you're on the replay. Welcome back to Santini Radio. Yes, we took a couple of breaks. We had some family members come down, so we were trying to enjoy them without any interruptions. We had the twin cousins come down. They were hilarious. They're 12 years old and just totally hilarious. So we had to go ahead and just take that in. So happy replay, crew. Today, we have a very special guest, but we're going to go ahead and go according to what we usually do. And what we're talking about is healing through expression. And of course, you know me, I like to get the definition of things because, you know, it's interesting on getting the definition. So let's go ahead and talk about the definition of healing first, okay? It's a transitive verb, okay? It's to make, feel from injury or disease, to make sound or whole, like heal a wound, okay? So if we're talking about healing a wound, or to make well again, to restore to health, like heal the sick. The one that we're really going to talk about is to cause, to be overcame or overcome, okay? Like William Powers says, the troubles had not been forgotten, but they had been healed. Another one is to patch up or correct a breach or division, heal a breach between friends, to restore to original purity or integrity, healed from sin. And an intransitive verb is to become free from injury or disease, to return to a sound state. So that's healing. Expression, which kind of bugged me out that it's a noun. I looked at it and I was like, really? I didn't know it was a noun. But expression is an act or instant of representation in a medium such as words. Freedom of expression. Once again, the one that we're going to concentrate is something that manifests, embodies, or symbolizes something else. This gift is an expression of my admiration of you. So what we're looking at is to cause to be overcome by manifesting, embodying, symbolizing something else. So that's basically what we're going to talk about. So you know what we're going to do before we bring our special guests, we're going to go ahead and start with, the Santini viewer question. So this is going to be about a minute because it's pretty interesting about healing through expression. So go ahead and check this out and go ahead and comment. So, did you kind of figure out how you're healing through your own expressions, whether it's meditation, calling people, whatever, chatting with people? Hey, come on now. I mean, there has to be a way for you to heal through expression. So, what we're going to do is bring our special guest. Monica is coming up. Yay! Monica is a very special guest to me. We knew each other while we were in the military when we went to Iraq together, and we've known each other ever since then. Anybody who knows when I went to Iraq, you can calculate those years if you want to. But she's a very special person to me, and she's going to talk to us about healing through expression. So, Monica, welcome. Welcome to Santini Radio.
Hey, Frenchie, how are you doing?
Wonderful now. So how are you healing through your expression? I just want to know that. Let's find out.
Well, well, I was going through some pretty some pretty dark times. My head was cluttered. For lack of a better descriptor, I was having a breakdown. I was having a mental breakdown, and a lot of it came from me not talking about much. I Because I didn't know how to talk about different things that I've gone through, experiences, how to express what I was feeling inside, whether it was happiness, whether it was grief. And a lot of it has been grief. How do I express what I'm carrying? How do I put it in concepts or terms, not even just for someone else to understand, but for myself to even understand and start processing and dealing and actually going through the grief part for a lot of my expression. Uh, with that, something that I've always had a love for words, and throughout my life at different times I've just enjoyed writing, more creative writing, and then sometimes just the word play. It's a fun game to me if I'm doing more formalized writing. Well, it hit a point where I realized I had, during this breakdown that occurred a couple years ago, I realized I hadn't written, when I started coming across some of my old writings, I hadn't written in near a decade. And there's a lot of life that's gone on in between. And I started thinking about it. And for years, I've been trying to figure out, find my art, find a way to express myself. Because, yes, I am, as many people who do know me, I am great with words and I can say so much without actually saying anything at all. And in order to get through a lot of the dark mind spaces I was in, I actually had to figure out how to even express them to my put them into words what I was feeling. That's the way I process things. For other people, it's visual. It's putting a picture to what they're going through. Uh, I started writing again, and a lot came tumbling out. And even now, about 2 years later, I go through and look through some of my previous writings over the past 2 years, and I don't remember writing many of them, but I see how much of what I've kept inside was coming out finally. And now, as I go back and read them when I'm comfortable to, it's been helping me heal, helping me come to terms with different things I've gone through in my life and grieve them, and actually go through those stages of grief so that I'm getting to a point where I the grief's not gone, but it definitely does not weigh on me. And I've made peace, and that's for me significant when it comes to my healing. Is I don't know if I ever expected it to be the things that I'm healing from. I don't know if I ever expected them to be gone, but definitely definitely being able to finally pull them out of me and express, just to be able to communicate to myself, let alone anyone else, this is what I've gone through, has helped lessen the weight of the grief. And
Wow. Like you said, find your art. I love the fact that you said, your grief is not gone. Meaning it's not in the forefront of your mind. Grief is always going to be with you.
right.
Like, my mom passed away, my brother passed away. So I have that grief. I hold that grief. And it's not like it lessens just because years have gone by. It's just other things have been put in front of my mind. So I love how you said find your art. So talking about finding your art, and I know that you like using words and using certain things in your art. What is your art?
My art form would be I don't just it's storytelling. There we go. That's because I can go with all of these things that essentially mean words, but the best way to put it is I have found my art in storytelling. I may be very long winded and sometimes take a hot minute to get to the point, and then we lost the point about 5 miles ago, kind of thing. But when it comes to narrowing my focus and actually, all right, I need to focus on communicating this in a way to this audience or just free form writing for myself.
Mhm.
It's I realize that everything continues to show my story. And something that's given me a lot of strength in my own healing has been nothing bad has ever come from me sharing my story genuinely.
Okay.
And as we've been friends for a long time, I am very closed off. Like I said, I've really got a skill of saying a lot without having said anything at all. And there are many times over my life now as I reflect on it that in a moment that I was inspired to let my walls down and share a difficult part of my story with someone else. And it was because maybe usually it's because I see they're going through something.
Okay.
And it's, it's empathy, it's compassion. It's, hey, I may not know exactly what you're going through, but I understand some of these feelings. And here's just a smidge of what I've gone through so that you know that you're not alone.
Right.
And it's more, here's my story that I'm not gonna pretty it up and say it's all gonna be roses and things are gonna be great, but I'm sharing my story because I promise you I survived and I'm on the other side of it, and you can too. But until love it, wee.
It's the magic wand.
I love it.
And it's true. Yeah. I mean, when you find what you can express, I believe, whether it's in an art form, whether it's, like in the video, the meditation, chatting with your friend, whatever that art form is, you know, it kind of frees you. It's that, like that voila, it's that magic wand that just frees you. And once again, all the quote unquote negative things that has happened to you, once again, it's not lessened, but it's in the far back of your mind. It's not in the forefront of your mind. So your expression or your art form is storytelling. So how do you storytell? I mean, do you just like, come up in your mind and just, I just want to tell the people. How do you storytell?
So it started with my own, just me writing for myself and for therapeutic. And sometimes the only person I would share it with would be my therapist at times. And even again, because it was me learning that in my own esteem and confidence, my own worth, me even learning and coming to terms with the fact that my story does matter. And so it's gone on from there, just writing, and I've over time been sharing it a little bit more publicly here and there, or I'll read it to someone, which that one's very difficult. You can always see my anxiety coming out when I start to read something. But I'm the fact that I'm getting to where I feel comfortable, it's it's helping me grow in my confidence of what's helping me just grow with my healing.
Right.
And a lot of it has to do with acknowledging my own story is acknowledging my own worth, my own value.
Wow, wow.
And with that, the way that I'm continuing to push that further is I'm learning sound engineering, just more sound, whether it's music or podcasting, just sound editing, sound producing. And the intention is to help others tell their stories, whether it's through music, whether the medium is sound, because we talked about art forms. And I am a firm believer welding is an art form, mechanicry is an art form, gardening, organization, because I don't have that art form. These, some of these things are more than just a skill. These are actual forms of expression. I can't keep a plant alive. Can't. I can't, but I can keep my pets alive. And I admire, those who you see they're the same. I've genealogy is an art form as well. You see the heart and the passion going into the purpose of what they're nurturing, what is being created, and we see how it impacts the person, the artist creating it, and then we see how it further ripples out and inspires other people. So in the medium of sound is where I'm focusing not just my storytelling, but helping others tell their stories.
That's very interesting. I love what you said, and I want to make sure that I'm quoting you correctly. Well, I didn't exactly quote it because I wrote it down. Acknowledging your story makes your story important. Because everybody has a story. We've heard that so many times from so many, motivational speakers, people of influence and things like that. Everybody has a story, and everybody thinks that their story is not important. And with your art form of sound, which we know, as audio engineer as myself, I understand sounds are vibrations, and vibration um, gets through energy, and energy is what we all have as human beings. We have energy, that's how different people can connect. You and I are very different, and we connect because of our energy, and then we listen and we hear because of sound, because of the vibration that comes out of our voices. So that's very, very interesting. And then music is also an art form that I understand that you're going through, that you're doing. And that also, that expression of art form right there is very interesting, because then you also strike up an emotion with music too. So there you go. You got the vibration, the sound, then you have the energy, and then after you have the emotion, which is a trifecta that brings peace to people with your storytelling. So that's extremely that's extremely awesome. So Monica, I also heard you say that you're going to do a podcast too. So what's up with the podcast, girl?
All right. It's in storyboard production right now, as in I'm figuring out the storyboard to begin with.
Okay.
I, the podcast that I am working on creating is going to be under ideally the production Demented Alice Productions, which is the audio production company I am currently creating. And the podcast will be AIR, AIR. It's acronym for Adventures into Reality. So Demented Alice's AIR, Demented Alice Productions AIR, excuse me.
Okay.
And what it will be about, the concept is about two sides. There's, let me take a deep breath. When I get excited, I get fast paced.
Right.
Uh, we the longer we are around, the longer we get more experience on this lovely world, uh, we find there's more than one side, and there's definitely more than two sides to stories, to even coins. Like, it can't be a 50-50. Sometimes there's way more sides. So the topic I'm choosing to apply this to are word choices, actual words that we use, since I love words. And we're going to take two words each episode, And I'm going to start off with, like you have, I'm going to define the words. I'm going to look up, I'm going to delve a little further and look into the roots, like the etymological origins, the actual roots. Where did this word come from? What language? All of that. We're going to look at that, the dictionary definition style side of it, what's accepted. And then the second half of the show, we're going to really kind of explore how we use it every day. I believe a big one that I've looked at is liberal and conservative being reflexively, the way we've used it in our own culture, it is reflexively very politically charged. We hear those words, we think politics. In that, in our cultural day-to-day conditioning, our uses like that, we forget that liberal and conservative also, we can forget that those words also have alternative meanings, such as I'm applying a lot of mustard, a liberal amount of mustard to my sandwich, or just I'm a bit conservative on how much mustard I'd like on there. A bit more restricted. And it's not to say that either definition or either usage is right or wrong, but that there's often more than one side to every word. And part of healing and what I have found in my experiences over the years right now, the word choices we use, even in our own internal thought speak, very much impact and influence and set the tone for not just our moment, but for our day, for our outlook. And if we can look at different ways, different perspectives, different angles of words, maybe we can continue to look at different perspectives of our own healing paths.
Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's very, very interesting. Yeah. Yeah, we love to do the definition of things because, you kind of forget that a word has more than one definition and can be used in so many different ways. I like the way that you use the liberal and conservative on the mustard, and I'm very conservative on my mustard, by the way. Only those. But yeah, that's very interesting. We cannot wait for your podcast to come out. We'll be more than happy if you want us to sponsor it. Give us your intro, your outro during our radio show. We'll go ahead and show that. And talking about our sponsors, we're going to have to go to a word from our sponsors, Teeny Voices. Your podcast can go viral. If it's important to you or your subscribers, the hook is what you need. Hire one of our voice actors or simply have us produce your voice for your podcast. Our audio engineers are eager to see you succeed and promote your podcast on our website. So sit back, chat about current events, your specialized training, your ability to mentally, physically, or financially assist others, while Santini Voices produces your creative sound for your podcast. Check out our work on our website or any social media, all at Santini Voices. Get your podcast produced by the experts of The Color of Sounds. Okay, and we're back. So listen, I really, really enjoy talking about finding your art and your storytelling. That is like super awesome. Do me a favor. I think you're able to do a private chat. If you could put in your URL or the Demented Alice, put in that information in the private chat so I can go ahead and share it with our viewers. That would be totally awesome. While you're getting that together, I just want to once again just thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything that you want to talk to our viewers about healing through your expression? Actually, I do have one question. I was hoping that somebody would ask this question, but I didn't see anybody ask this question. So what are you healing from? If you don't mind, if you don't mind.
Oh no, I was thinking of how do I put long story shorter and then more condensed and then way shorter? I the most simplest and really widespreadly relatable way to put it is trauma. And I use it very I just use that one word, trauma, because the reason there's not specific definitions as to what constitutes trauma, what defines what an actual trauma is because it is very much relative to the person experiencing the actual the event, the situation, prolonged, short term. It all boils down to ex- you've gone through something that didn't process through your brain right because how the heck could it have? It's it didn't make sense because it was that impactful, whether it's experiencing something in experiencing something directly affecting you, that someone's hurt you, caused injury, emotional, physical, all of these different things, as well as what if you lost someone during the pandemic? For many, that's you, don't belittle that. You went through, don't minimize that is what I mean. Don't minimize that because you've experienced grief, you've experienced loss, you've experienced what to you may be a very hard-hitting thing, and that is something that maybe, look, bottom line, we all are struggling to heal from something at somewhere at some point in our lives, and that's why trauma healing.
Definitely, definitely. So I put Monica's IG down there, Demented Alice. Check her out on IG. Make sure that you check out her podcast when it comes out. It's coming soon. We will try to keep you updated when her podcast is coming. And we just want to go ahead and just give you a I don't know. I don't know what else. I don't know what else I got on here. Voila.
I'm like, you got birds chirping, dogs barking, one of the
I
two.
do have, I think I have, that's my funniest one that I have.
I
I
love
think
it.
it's hilarious. I still have to put 8 more in there. It's just, I can't figure out what I want to put in there. But thank you so much, Monica, for coming by. Our viewers will appreciate this. For everybody, it'll be on Santini Radio and on IG. Thank you so much for coming by, sweetheart.
Thank you, thank you.
All right. So yeah, you heard it. You heard it here. Monica is getting ready to do a podcast. Oh, you will be remiss if you do not go to her podcast and check it out because it sounds like it's going to be something fantastic. Hey, listen, make sure you like and share our podcast. It's on Santini Radio on Facebook. We're on IG. We're on Twitter. We have the Santini Radio. Oops, wrong way. Oops, wrong way. This way. SantiniRadio.com. We have all of our, you can't see my fingers because I got this crazy background going on, but we have all of our Santini Radio handles up on top. Go ahead and check us out. We appreciate you. We will start doing Santini Radio once a month, maybe the second week of the month, so that we can concentrate on our other programs that we have going on. And if you have any questions, on any of the guests that came by, just, send us an email at santiniradio@gmail.com or contact us at santiniradio.com. Otherwise, hey, thanks a lot for showing up.